In this video, I will go over three challenge questions, three tricky questions you probably need to pass your test. So this is question 1, and you have question 2 here, okay, and question 3. So for each question, I will try to use a different method, which will help you, to see which method looks simple for you to use in case you have a similar question in the test. So question 1, they say the line graph shows the monthly payroll at a large construction company. So we have the graph here on the right side, okay, and the question is in which month did the monthly payroll decrease the most? This is a key word we need to understand. Decrease the most. Feel free to pause the video and try to challenge your skills before you see how I will solve the question. But right away, I can tell you that the best choice from the 4 answers, the best and the correct choice here is June. Okay, so let's explain. So when they say decrease, you have to understand that decrease means here going down, going down. So on the graph, we see that the graph is going down on this side, also going down here, going down here, and here. So in 4 different parts, the graph is going down. But they want to know in which part or in which section or interval this graph goes down the most. The large value, the graph decrease. That's what they want to know. Okay, so you have to understand that we have the month in the bottom of the graph. So we want to see the value of each month and see how much this goes down. The first month is January, and the January, the payroll, they say the payroll is in thousand, right? So it's a little bit above 60. Okay, let's highlight that. So that will help us to see clearly. So here is a little bit above 60. So that means 60,000. So we can assume that, it's a 62. Okay, it's 62. Someone can say 63, but, it's not bad. 61, 62, 63, not bad. Okay, so if you assume that it's 62. Now, in February, okay, here, again, we see that, okay, the point is above 40, okay, 40 million, or below 50. Seems like it's in the middle, yeah, someone can say it's 45, someone can say it's 44, but it's also fine, it's not to be exact, accurate, to give accurate value, but approximately. Okay, so if we take 62 and 44, so let's write it down so you can see clearly. So if you take a 62, okay, and you say, oh, this dropped to 44, okay, over there, the difference is what? 18. So this is 18, that drop by 18. So 62 minus 18 give you 44. Okay, the other side. So here, the thing drop again, okay, this side. Okay, over there, what we have? The value, the value for which month is that? That's March. Yeah, it's a little bit above 70. You can assume that is 72. Okay, it's 72. And that drop to, we can say that is, yeah, it's a little bit below 70. So we can say 69. So 72. Okay. And the 69 here. So the difference is what? Only 3. So now this cannot be the correct choice. But because we have the 18 here, since that, okay, this dropped to by 18. Okay, so we can assume that, okay, probably February can be, the correct choice because we have a larger value here that dropped a lot. But again, we have to go over everything to before we, check that, okay, this is the correct value. So we have 18, okay, which can be the correct choice. Now, if we continue, we know that this cannot be the correct choice. Okay, we take it out. Other side, okay, and what is that month? That is May. So in May, you will see that the thing is a little bit up below 80. So we can assume that, this is a 79 here. This is 79. Yeah, it's a little bit below 80, 79. And that dropped to 50 something. Okay, we can assume that is a 56 because it's a little bit, above the middle of 50 and the 60. Okay, but someone could say 55, 56, but it's okay. But suppose we take a 56, 56 here. So assume that, okay, from 79, the thing dropped to 56. So what is going to be the difference there? What is 79 minus 56? It's going to be 23. Okay, 23. So we have it here, 23. So seems like again, June, gonna be the best choice because here for February we found 18, and now for June, okay, from May to June, yeah, the twinkle, dropped by 23 million. Yeah. So if you compare 23 and 18, 23 is that large value. So 18 cannot be any more, that choice. But if we continue, okay, the last part of the graph, which is also going down, okay, let's take out this. Okay, for that, like I said, if we assume that the 56 is this part, let me rewrite it. If we assume that 56 is the value for June, okay, and that drop to July value, again, we can assume that is 51 or 52, So, but anyway, from 56 to 52 or 56 to 51, the difference there is smaller than 23. You see, it's smaller than 23. Therefore, 23, is the largest value, and we get this when the thing drop from May to June. The reason we choose June as the correct choice. Okay, so the reason I say this is a little bit tricky because you have to understand that they want to know, the gap between 2 months, when the value, the payroll, the amount drop. That's the thing. Okay, suppose they give you a similar question, but in the question, instead of decrease, they change it decrease by increase. Yeah, why not? That can happen. Increase. So if that is the case, that means what? We need to focus on the graph where the section of the graph where we see that the graph is going up because they say increase. Okay, that means what? We're gonna focus on this part, this part. Okay, only 2 parts. We're gonna focus on 2 parts because for those 2 parts, the graph is going up. Okay, so if it's like that, again, you can pause the video to, challenge your skill before you continue. But I can tell you this, So in February, like I said it before, I assumed that, okay, it's 44. 44, 45, 43. Okay, that is fine. Because anyway, based on the approximate value you will choose, you'll see that, okay, the answer will not be affected because, the gap will be different. So if I assume that for February, we have a 44, okay, and that goes up to March. And the March, I said before that, okay, something as 72. Okay, so first of all, what is the difference from 44 up to 72? The difference there is 28. Okay, the difference is 28. Let's write it here. Somewhere here. The difference is 28. Okay, the other side, before I assume that this point here for April, the point for April, the value is approximately, 69. Yeah, it's 69 because it's a little bit below 70. So if this is a 69 and that goes up, to the May value, and the May value, yeah, I assume that, okay, this is 79. Yeah, 79. Why? Because it's a little bit below 80. So 79. Okay, we see that from 69 up to 79, the difference is what? Only 10. So 10 million. Okay, so 10 compared to 18, that is smaller. So 18 is more than 10. So in case they change the question and they say, okay, increase the most, okay, for that, the answer will be March. Because from February, okay, which is 44 million, to March, which is 72 million, we see that, okay, the gap, is large. One is going up. So the answer will be March. Okay, so this is just, something I made, but for this particular question, the best choice is C, which is June. Okay, so it's very important to understand how to read the graph because we never know. Okay, they can give you different question where you have some graph to analyze, and it's not only for math, it can be in any other subject. So the best thing is to understand how to read graph. Okay, now let's see the second question. It's saying a scale drawing of a house uses a scale of 0.5 inches equals 2 feet. This is something we need to highlight here. 0.5 inches is equal to 2 feet. Now they say, what is the length in inches of a line on the scale drawing that represents an actual length of 5 feet? So the thing is this, they just want to know what is 5 feet in inches. Yeah, that's it. That's what they just want to know. What is 5 feet in inches? They can just ask you convert 5 feet into inches, but they made it as a word problem just to confuse you. Okay, so I will solve this question using two different methods. Again, you can pause the video to challenge yourself before you continue. But I can tell you right away that the correct choice, the best answer from these four answers is what is the first one. So choice A. Okay, so the first method I will use is what? I will not use any formula. It's just to understand the question as a real situation, a real world situation. So something you can, experiment in your real life. Okay, so for that, let's understand this. If you have a 0 point, let's write it down. If you have a 0.5 inches giving you 2 feet, okay, can we try to know how many inches will be 1 foot? 1 foot. So 2 feet is for 0.5 inches. So 1 foot will be what? It's just to divide 0.5 by 2. Yeah, this is like you're gonna take a half. So it's like we have this uh, nice segment, and they say, oh, you know what? This is 2 feet. And they say, oh, you know what? This is same as 0.5 inches. And you want to know 1 foot will be how many inches. Okay, so how to get 1 foot from 2 feet? If you want to divide it, you cut it half. So that means what? You're gonna cut or divide this 0.5 inches also in half. So what is 0.5 divided by 2? Okay, it's like we have a 50 cents to divide by 2. That gives you what? A quarter, which is 0.25. So having 0.5 divided by 2, okay, this gives you 0.25 because 0.5 is the same as 0.50. So 0.50 divided by 2 gives you 0.25. Okay, so that's the value of 1 foot. Now, how to find the value of 5 feet is to take the value of 1 foot, which is 0.25, and we're going to multiply this by 5. But again, I don't want to use, math formula to do this. The first method, that means what? Okay, you assume that you have a 0.25, you have this 5 times. Yes, you have this 5 times. So let's see what's gonna happen if I write it 5 times. So I have it 3 times already. Okay, let's put more 0.25 and another 0.25. So I have a 0.25 5 times. Okay, understand it. 0.25 added to another 0.25 give you what? 0.50. It's like a quarter added to a quarter give you what? 50 cents. Okay, so you add another 0.25, that gives you what? 0.75, which is 3 quarters. You add another 0.25, that gives you what? $1, okay, which is 1. So if you have a 25 cents, 4 times, that gives you $1. Or if you have 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 4 times, that gives you what? 1. Okay, that one added to the last 0.25 give you what? 1.25. The reason we have choice A as the best choice. So you understand that you could solve this without any kind of formula. Just understand as a real life situation. Now, the second method, which is to use a formula, and that formula is called what? Proportion. We're gonna use a proportion to solve it. Proportion. Okay, that proportion means what? We're gonna have two fractions, equal one another or each other. Okay, so how are we gonna set up the fraction? The first fraction we use the given information when they say 0.5 inches, okay, is equal to 2 feet. So we're gonna have a 0.5 divided by 2. So 0.5 over 2. That means what? We are taking inches and we divide inches by what? Feet. Yeah. So we're going to say equal, we do the same thing. Inches divided by feet. And please, when you are setting the proportion, the two fractions, you have to make sure you follow the order. So the numerator, if you use the inches for the numerator and the foot for or feet for the denominator. This is for the first fraction. You have to do the same thing for the second fraction. Or another person could say, you know what, I want to put the foot or the feet on top and the inches bottom. It's also fine, but you have to do the same thing for the second fraction. Okay, all that. Look, here we're gonna have inches. We don't know that inches, so we're gonna call it like x. So remember, x or variables or letters are used in math to represent what? Unknown. Okay, we don't know that inches because that's the question. But the feet, we know that, which is 5. So to rewrite this, is like the asking what is 0.5 over 2 equals x over 5. Okay, so we're gonna solve for this x. Okay, so that is the proportion. We have the two fraction set up. Now the next thing is to do what? We're gonna cross multiply. Yeah, yeah. So that means what? We take a 2 multiplied by x. This will be the same as 0.5 multiplied by 5. Yeah. So you take the numerator of one fraction multiplied by the denominator of the other fraction. So the numerator of this fraction multiplied by the denominator of the other fraction. This will be equal to the denominator of this fraction multiplied by the numerator of the other fraction. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, for that, I need space. So let's take out this for a moment. Okay, and solve the question. So we're gonna have 2 multiplied by x, which is 2x, okay, is equal to 0.5 multiplied by 5, or 5 multiplied by 0.5 is 17. Okay, now the goal here is to solve for x. So what we'll do is to divide both sides by what? By 2, and also here by 2. Okay, so we have 5 multiplied by 0.5, and now divide by 2. So if you do 5 multiplied by 0.5, that will give you what? Okay, 2.5, and the 2.5 divided by 2 give you 1.25. Let me explain again. Yes, to make it clear. So we take 2x equal 5 multiplied by 0.5, the numerator here. Now to solve for x, we divide what? Both sides by 2. So doing that, the 2 here cancel out, and we're gonna have x alone is equal to what we have here, which is 5 multiplied by 0.5 divided by 2. So if you use a calculator, yeah, okay, use a calculator, and you do 5 multiplied by 0.5. Even if you don't use a calculator, but you work it out, okay, you have a 5 multiplied by 0.5, that gives you what? 2.5. Or you can understand like this. The 0.5 is 50 cents, right? Okay, if you have a 50 cent 5 times, that give you what? First of all, 50 cent 2 times give you $1. 50 cent 2 times again give you another $1. So 50 cent 4 times give you what? $2. And then you have the other 50 cent if one. So that's why we have a 2.5. And the 2.5 divided by 2 give you 1.25. Or again, $2 and the 50 cent divided by 2 give you $1 and the 25 cents. So let's continue, with the last question. Okay, the last question is here. Again, this question I will use 2 different methods. This is an inequality, okay? And what is very important here is to understand that this symbol, the name of this symbol is what? Greater than or equal to. So when you have a symbol like this, that means what? On the graph, you're gonna have shaded circle. But if you have the symbol like this, it's gonna be open circle. So same thing when you have is less than or equal to, you're gonna be shaded, okay, on the point, okay, and if you just have is less than, so you have open circle, which is not shade. Okay, so the 4 graphs we have here, each one will have the point shaded, so no problem with that. Now, the first method I will use, okay, which I see, simple, but it depends on, everyone, because some people will say, okay, that first method is not as simple, but that first method is what? Is to pick a value on this solution. to check the inequality, you have to understand that this inequality, the solution, the solution is one of the four solutions. So the correct solution is one of the four solutions. So if you pick a value and that fits, the inequality, that means what? Probably gonna be that correct answer. So to pick a value here, the easiest, value you can use for this is to pick a 0. So that means what? If I pick a 0, we know that 0 multiplied by any number, give you 0, or that 0 added to a number give you the same number, doesn't change anything if you add or you subtract. So we're gonna use a 0 to do the calculation, and here we're gonna replace x by 0. So doing that, if you replace this x here by 0, so negative x is a negative 0, which is just 0, okay? And here 2x means 2 multiplied by 0, which is also going to be 0. So now, can we say that if you replace x by 0, can we say that 1 is greater than or equal to negative 5? Yes. Yes. If you are not familiar with this, okay, so you cannot use this first method. 1 is a positive number. So positive number is greater than or equal to any negative, number. So that means what? Probably A can be the correct answer. I say probably because we need to check for all of them before we say that, okay, this is the correct answer. And also have to, focus on this. So the value you are picking have to be a solution. So when they have this line here, that means for any value on this line is a solution. So don't pick a value outside. Don't pick a value outside. Have to be on the border line, the solution part before you check. Okay, so we check for 0, and using the graph A, we see that, okay, probably A could be the correct answer. Okay, so 0 is not on the solution for B. 0 is not on the solution. That means what? Okay, if you pick here 0, because 0 is not the solution. So if you pick 0, the thing will not work. They have to be wrong. Okay, but let's check that. Okay, so because we say 1 is greater than or equal to negative 5, when we use a 0, 1 is greater than or equal to 0, and we say, okay, probably A is the correct answer, which means what? Probably 0 is a solution, it's one of the solution for the inequality. So because we say that probably 0 is one of the solution, and the B doesn't have that 0 on the borderline, so we eliminate a B and the C. So we are using, method by elimination. So B and the C are out. Okay, B and C are out, and also D probably can be the correct answer. So now from 4 choices, we have 2 choices, and that means what? We increase our chance in a probability. You're gonna say that, okay, from 25% of chance, now we have a 50% of chance. So it's like a true or false question. So we have 2 choices. So your chance is, high to get the correct answer. Okay, now we are in A and the B. Okay, for that, we can again check with another point, okay, or another value on this thing. So look here. Okay, when we choose a 0, we do the thing. We can check now with what? I can pick like what about 3? Yeah, I know that 3 is in A, but 3 is not in D. Okay, 3 is in A, but 3 is not in D. So if I choose a 3, I replace x by 3, I'm going to have a negative 3. Okay, I'm choosing 3 here. Yes, I'm going to have a negative 3. Okay, plus 1. And I want to check if this is greater than or equal to 2 multiplied by 3 is how much? 6 minus 5. Okay, so negative 3 plus 1, that is another thing you have to understand, that this gives you negative 2. And I want to check if this is greater than or equal to positive 1. No way. No way, no way, no way, no way. Negative 2 is not greater than or equal to positive 1. Negative value cannot be greater than positive value. So when I choose a 3 and I check this, I saw that 3 is not a solution. So that means what? A is not a solution. So that means the correct choice here is a D. D as a dog. Okay, that's the first method. You don't solve anything, but you just use the value to check the thing. Okay, but the other method is the method we learned at school, which is to solve the inequality. Okay, so to solve the inequality, now let's do that. And this is a very, very important, the second method. If you are using the second method, pay attention because at some point we're going to do something which is very important. I will not tell you yet, but let's go through it. Okay, so we want to solve for x. We have a solve for x. We have a two sides. This is the left side, okay, of the inequality, and this is the right side of the inequality, and we have the inequality symbol in the middle. So we have to make sure that the variable we are solving for, which is x, is only on one side, which is not the case here. We have a x in yellow, we have x in blue. Not good. So we need to group all values with x in one side and the values without x called constant in the other side. For that, I'm gonna subtract, okay, 2x on both sides. Doing that, okay, I will eliminate the x on the right side. So that means what? I'm gonna have a negative x, so combine like terms, negative x minus 2x give you what? Negative 3x, okay, plus 1. This is greater than or equal to negative 5. Yes, only negative 5. Why? Because the positive 2 and the negative 2x cancel. So we have a negative 3x plus 1 is greater than or equal to negative 5. Okay, to continue. Now we're gonna move this positive 1 to the other side. And the move positive 1 means what? We're gonna subtract 1. So we do minus 1 minus 1. Remember, okay, inequality or equation, okay, we do inverse operation. So addition, we're gonna do subtraction, subtraction, do addition, division, do multiplication, multiplication, division. You have a negative 1 here on both sides, and that negative 1 will cancel out with the positive 1 here. So what left? We have a negative 3x here, okay, is greater than or equal to negative 6. Okay, so we have a negative 3x is greater than or equal to negative 6, almost done. To solve for x, what we'll do is to divide both sides by what? By negative 3. Because the goal here is to get x alone. We want the x alone without the negative 3. That's why we divide both sides by negative 3. Remember, negative 3x means what? Negative 3 multiplied by x. So because it's a multiplication between the negative 3 and the x, the inverse operation here will be the reason we divide both sides by negative 3. Okay, almost done. Now, when we divide this by negative 3, okay, the negative 3 on top and negative 3 bottom cancel. And what left? We have x. Other side, we have negative 6 divided by negative 3. So this side, negative 6 divided by negative 3 give you what? Positive 2. Yes, that's also important. Negative divided by negative change it to positive. Okay, now, yes, the tricky part. What's going to happen to this symbol? The greater than or equal to, what's going to happen to that? We're going to flip it. We're going to flip it, and if you flip it, that change to what is less than or equal to. Okay, now let's graph it. So when they say x is less than or equal to 2, this is telling that we're going to find some values. So those values will be smaller than 2. So 1 here can be solution. Yes. 0 can be solution. Okay, like here. 1 is a solution, 0 is a solution because 0 is smaller than 2, negative 1 also is a solution, so negative 1 is smaller than 2, negative 2 solution, negative 3 solution, and so on. Okay, so this is telling you that at the 2, you're gonna have shaded circle, which is the case here. Okay, and now you move to the left side. So any value to the left side of 2 is a solution to this inequality. The reason we have a D as the best choice. Okay, so thank you so much, for your attention. I will see you in our next video for another challenge question. Bye-bye.